All right, guys. I feel like there's been a massive sort of switch up on the 10th year anniversary. And I'm gonna just kind of discuss all the good and bad things that happened during the anniversary, and kind of just ask your guys' opinions. Well, let's just start off by doing that. What are your guys' opinions on the 10th year anniversary, and like, how does it set with you between all of the other anniversaries in Dokkan? Personally, for me, I would put it in the top three. I don't know where it would go in top three, but it would easily be a top three anniversary for me, right? That being said, let's go ahead and just start talking about all of the good stuff. Now, I'm gonna have to unfortunately look at the part three. So if there's anything I do forget, it's mainly just because of the fact that Dokkan Wiki doesn't really have all of the stuff that it usually does have, right? Like if we just go ahead and look at the Dokkan Wiki for 10th year anniversary, it doesn't have all of this stuff. Um, it doesn't have all this part of the celebrations, so I can't go through it with part by part because of this. It only has part one in the countdown, so we're just gonna have to look at it with like this. Now, I think it did have sort of a slower start, just because of the countdown maybe not having as much stuff as the Ultimate Red Zone. I remember when they did that for, I think it was a 9th year anniversary, and they had it where we had to fight like Harudagarn, and or I think it was 9th year anniversary, right? Where it was Harudagarn and all of the movie bosses that they had during the countdown. Maybe that might have been New Year's. Either way, the start of the anniversary definitely was a little bit on the slower side. The only main event that gave any difficulty at all was the battle hardened formidable foes. That being said, it still was a really nice event for sure, having it where it was a thing that we've been kind of asking for years, an actually decently hard super battle road sort of style fight, and they delivered. Sure, you could still debuff the enemy, but they did remove stunning, they did remove sealing. You could still have the attack and defense lowering, but it wasn't like if you just brought something like a rare Chaozu that had the stunning turn one, that you would be able to wipe the event like how it was with the older super battle roads. No, this was like a new style of content while also trying to update the old format, and I liked seeing it for sure. And it slowly got harder over time, and we slowly started seeing more and more, and it definitely did get pretty difficult, even if it was a longer style or a longer event for sure, just of how much time it consumed. But it was nice, and I definitely liked liked that idea, right? The Goku and Vegeta's Ultimate Red Zone was pretty weak for the start, but then it definitely did ramp up once we did start getting to something like Jiren, and Topo for sure. Like those bosses were definitely pretty hard. Um, the missions weren't that bad either. The 10th year anniversary, the only thing I will probably say was like a bad thing about this was just the fact that if you're a person or a newer player that did not play during maybe the 9th year anniversary, or maybe weren't able to clear this for the 9th year anniversary, you had to really wait to get the best orbs or the best equipment for these characters, because of the fact that for whatever reason they revamped it totally, right? So that way you had to do multiple parts of the same anniversary rather than just doing it where it was just one singular part. So if you were, for example, using the 9th year anniversary characters, like something like Beast Gohan, that you just pulled during the 10th year anniversary, but maybe weren't able to fight the 9th year anniversary battle, yeah, that's a tongue twister. Then you just didn't have the right equipment that you needed for Beast Gohan, or something like Agio MUI Goku, who is another decent unit who could be used in battle hardened formidable foes, right? That doesn't mean that it was necessarily a bad thing. It was just one of the pet peeves that I had. And then the EZAs were very hit or miss. Something like STR Kaioken Goku was just bad. But then if we go ahead and look at top 3 units in the game, or top 5 units in the game, 3 of them were these EZAs right here. Tech Gods, Physical Super Saiyan 4s, and Tech Vegeta was among the top 5 units for battle hardened formidable foes, and it genuinely is crazy how well they made the characters, and the fact that they were just easy A's. More often than not, I feel like a lot of people overlook that fact of just like they gave us characters for free. Well, not for free, but they gave characters that you didn't have to summon more on top of what you already had, right? And then them also having it where it was the Purunga Dragon Ball campaign that gave you a free character as well. At any character from the 10th year anniversary, or just a Dokkan Fest within the last year, if maybe you already rainbowed the entire banners, it was nice. It was something that was unexpected and something that I remember people raving about on Twitter, and then it's just like I feel like it just doesn't get talked about at all. And sure, you can definitely make the argument, and something I've talked about in the past, of the reason why they did that is just because of the fact that Tech Vegito is just far and away better than everyone else in the game. That they kind of, I don't know if I would say damage control, because they already had it planned since part one, right? But they sort of knew that this character was somebody you had on your account, or you just weren't beating something like the what was that new event called? The it was a part EX thing. Hold on. I always forget the name of it. It's like the Festival of Battles. There it is. You can't beat the Festival of Battles without this. Well, it's impossible. Not impossible. It's improbable to beat this event without Tech Vegito on your team. It definitely is possible, but it's damn near impossible. So because of that, I feel like they did give this unit for free, because they knew that maybe a lot of people were going to complain that they weren't able to beat this event without that character, right? But then we can go ahead and talk about some of the bad things that happened during this anniversary. Actually, let me just talk about one more good thing. With the super easies, they did a decent job on making it where I feel like a lot of them were really good. STR Super Gogeta was really decent in a unit who I constantly use on my teams, even though I see nothing but like shame on this unit. Every time that I hear anything from the global or even the Japanese side of the game, it's always that STR Gogeta got sacrificed for Tech God Super Saiyan 4s or whatever. It's like, what? Dude, STR Gogeta is so good. What are you guys talking about? Inch and Emba maybe should have been able to tank a little bit better, but he's still a dodging king, I guess. Int Buhan is easily must run a lot of these extreme teams for sure. Agio Vegito did definitely get sacrificed, so that one I'm not even gonna say anything about. Part 2, they did leave a little bit to be desired, but they were still usable in a lot of these events. In Super Saiyan Goku is someone who I use a lot in my Battle Hardened Formidable Foes runs, because of the fact that he was able to tank just well enough from these super attacks where he would be able to activate Agio MUI's Revive, so I would have 2 revive turns, right? And then AGL Frieza is a really good unit who just needs help, right? He just needs help from a new Frieza unit that could help him out with links, or just a new extreme team that could help him out with categories. So we just have to kind of wait for that. In Super Saiyan 2, Gohan was another unit that I personally did not like as much as some others, but he was okay. And then Tech Cell was, again, just another must run in a lot of these extreme teams. So I feel like people don't see that more of these EZAs also did pretty good as well. And then the last thing, for sure, is just the training in the COTS. Easiest Link event of all time. I wish it was permanent and maybe with just once a day, because damn, I get some good links from that. But now we can start talking about the bad stuff and the things that I personally had a lot of personal gripes with. And it's just the leader skill. That's the kind of my number one thing. This is the stupidest thing of all time. Why did we have to increase the leader skill up even more? I feel like it should have just stayed at 200%. Maybe 220 would have been fine with me, but not 250% to HP, not 220% on top of that to all the other stats, you know? It's just stupid in my opinion, because what it does is it completely invalidated the Daima Goku and Physical Glorio I mean, the previous month, just because of the fact that those characters didn't get the leader skill that they needed. I'm still talking about the fact that Physical Goryeo should have been on Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta's team, but he wasn't. It's just stupid. And sure, it doesn't mean that you can't run those units, but you're at an inherent disadvantage if you're not using these new leader skills. And because of that, it just hurts those units because of it. Um, and sure, this was one of the better leaders that we've seen in like history. You know, just pure Saiyans, Earth protecting heroes, fused fighters, as well as Earthbound fighters of Patara. And then Angel Gogeta also had a really decent leader skill as well, just making it where every single fusion unit was on a 220% leader. Like, that's good for sure, right? But it doesn't mean that the leader skill just isn't inherently bad. And the main reason why I think that it's also inherently bad is just one other big issue. They hate updating leader skills with EZAs. How are you going to make it where this is the same exact stats? I remember talking like a couple weeks, maybe even months before the anniversary, and I you could kind of tell that they were going to easily update the leader skills, because what were they going to do with this leader skill? But I didn't think it was going to be this bad. How are we only updating the EZAs of these characters, or how are we only updating the leader skill of these EZA characters and giving them one key? I was so excited for this too, because I was like, oh, there's so many Power Beyond Super Saiyans that are on Kamehameha now. And it's just like, no, they made it where, again, if you run this leader skill, you're at an inherent disadvantage. But if we go ahead and look, AGL Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Physical Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, Tech Gotenks, like all of those units, I guess you could also, no, because he doesn't do Kamehameha. But all of those units, in this celebration, and the previous celebration with Tech Gotenks, all of those units were on Power Beyond Super Saiyan, and they also had Kamehameha. So it was nice to see them. And then even the Daima units, into Daima Goku, Physical Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, all of those units could have been run on this team, but no, because all it does is give you 4 key instead of it having it where it's maybe 3 key and 220. I don't think it was that big of an ask to say something like that, considering that they gave us the 220% just standard for these units. It just doesn't make sense, because like, why is that a thing? Let me just go ahead and show like another point. Nope, they're not on Joint Forces. I forgot. They'll be on Pure Saiyans. It doesn't make sense when we have it where 220s are just a new part of these leader skills as well with the carnival units. I think it would have been entirely fair having it where if you want a 220% for the EZA characters, you have to have it where they're filling both conditions. It's 180% to Pure Saiyan, or sorry, Power Beyond Super Saiyans or movie heroes, and then 40% if those units also belong on Kamehameha. It would have been fine like that, because it's still worse technically than leader skills like this, but it's still better than fucking 1 key. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. It genuinely doesn't. I don't understand the thought process of just giving 1 key and just throwing up your hands and saying that the days that's a day's work. Like, it's just stupid. It's so stupid, and that's probably why I could definitely understand why people don't have this as their favorite anniversary. I definitely would probably not say that this is my favorite anniversary because of something like that. Too, with just the leader skill update and how they just handled it. But again, at the end of the day, I do think that I do think this was a good anniversary for sure. Let me try to think if there's any more good or bad things that I could think of. Well, I would probably say this: the fact that they dropped 4 events and then they had it where like the characters didn't even come out until part 2. I thought that was so weird. I don't know. I thought it was really weird that they didn't give the characters. I feel like they should have gave the characters SSR in part 1, the TUR in part 2. They could have they could have LR'd the free to play character in part 3, and then part EX has it where they easy A or something like that. I think that was fine. But because they didn't do easy A's this year, I guess it would maybe it would just be like part 1, the SSRs drop, part 2, the awakening medals to get them to TUR drop, and then part 3 was the LR awakening medals for the LR. Yeah, I guess no part EX would have the easy A, because I forgot that they didn't do that this year. But yeah, like I don't know. Again, I thought that portion was definitely weird to me for sure. And the other big gripe was just the EX part, right? I think that this was completely mishandled. Oh, did I accidentally close the? Hold on, let me open it back up again. There we go. Okay, I opened it back up. I think this part was like completely mishandled. The TUR Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta was worse in my opinion than Daimagoku and Goryeo. Especially for what they wanted to do with him. He is a SOT 1 unit that cannot tank in SOT 1. At least Goku has dodge. At least Goryeo has dodge to live some of these super attacks. Vegeta just took the super attack, had no way of living it, and then just immediately died. And it's the reason why I kind of skipped his banner, right? The EZA was pretty good for the GT Goku and Vegeta, but then the Super EZA was literally a throwaway and just did nothing. Even with damage reduction support, that guy still sucks, and he just does nothing. Festival of Battles, I feel like this event gets a little bit more hate considering or a little bit more hate than it warrants, just because you get 25 stones for literally free. Like that part I really don't get. We got more Ultimate Red Zone stages, more Battle Hard and Formidable Foe stages than it was. I think that was it, right? So yeah, overall, I think part EX was kind of a letdown just because of the Dokkan Fest sucking, but overall was still pretty good, you know. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think though. We'll go ahead and stop there. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys all have a great rest of your week. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.